Big Dog Talk Podcast. The bark before the bite. Real talk about American bullies, pitbulls, and other large breeds starts now.
Hey, welcome. This is Andre BGK, and this is Big Dog Talk. Hey, today on Big Dog Talk, we have Katheryn of Bossy Kennels. She's better known by her nickname Kat, which is kind of funny because she's more known for producing great-looking American pitbulls and American bullies. Bossy Kennels has played a significant role in the breeding industry since about 2009. Bossy has dominated Google rankings, and she has an Instagram following of about 500,000, which is quite impressive. The demand for her beautiful creations has only got greater over the years. Bossy is most known for creating beautiful, colored, chiseled specimens that shock the community. Her A-list clientele consists of NBA players, NFL, MLB, famous artists, you name it, they come talk to her. If you're looking to check out Bossy on Instagram, look at Bossy Kennels, at Bossy Kennels. If you're looking to check out her website, it's www.bossykennels.com, BOSSY Kennels.com. And it's kind of amazing to see a female dominate a male-saturated industry. I consider her a friend, and I think you guys are really going to be interested in her story. Let's go!
This is Kat from Bossy Kennels on Big Dog Talk.
Welcome to Big Dog Talk, Kat.
Thank you.
It's been a minute, but as you know, I've been following you for a while as a breeder myself, just watching your progress. And I have to say, before we even get into the interview, like, this is a genuine thing. Like, I'm genuinely impressed by your accomplishments. I think a lot more people know about you than you even realize outside of your following. I talk to people on a daily basis that are into the dogs, and your name consistently comes up when we're talking about top quality.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm humbled by that, honestly.
I'm dead serious. So I'm going to go down the list of questions, and feel free to improvise. If there's things that I didn't cover, you can say whatever you feel, okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, I know you've been around since 2009. How'd you get started, and at what point did you know that breeding would be your career?
I started when I was in college. I also owned like a little swimwear boutique store, and I remember I got my first pit bull, and her name was Gigi. She was like a $500, pit bull, and I thought that was so expensive at the time. But we're talking 12 years ago, and I fell in love with the breed as a whole. My parents had always been kind of anti-pit bulls before then. We had a yellow lab growing up, so it was my first, introduction to a pit bull and the temperament that a pit bull had. And going from a lab to a pit bull, there was so many things about the pit bull that I actually liked a lot, and just kind of fell in love with the breed as a whole. So I started doing research into the breed and the breeding and all that type of stuff. I remember one of the first kennels I actually looked into that I thought was amazing was Mugglestone. I don't know if you remember Mugglestone, Andre. I'm sure.
No, I do. Like, I found them when I was searching in the beginning, too. They were one of the first sites out there that were really producing and consistently marketing themselves. I remember them.
Yeah, they had Boogie Monster, and I was in love with Boogie Monster.
Me too.
And all that. So that was kind of the beginning. I think one of the first breedings I ever did was actually with Boogie, and I went up to Jed's farm, which was, like 6-7 hours for me, drove up there and saw the dogs, and I was just kind of enamored and just kind of fell in love with the breed as a whole, and then, the whole industry, really.
That's crazy. You actually bred the Boogie?
Yeah, I actually bred to Boogie, surprisingly. I bred to Boogie, yep, and I think we only had, of course, how it works, one puppy. I think we had one puppy, and that was like probably the first breeding that I ever did. Yeah.
That's dope. So you go back even further than I thought, honestly.
Yeah, you just didn't know about me then. I was just a little minion.
Hey, that changed. All right. Well, you kind of answered my second question, because I was going to ask you what made you gravitate to American bullies, but I mean, you've been pretty clear about that already. Now,
yeah.
When I really first noticed you, to be honest, was I was fascinated by your foundation stud, Arnold, the Terminator. Like, R.I.P., that's a legend in my book, like, all day. He was muscled up.
Amazing dog.
Yeah, for real. Like, impressive. Muscled up legend. I even use his blood myself. Like, I had a female out of him named Shady Lady, and
I remember her.
Yeah, I remember her. Pretty girl, and she produced her ass off. I remember you're like, you know what, I got better girls from him. You could use better girls, but she produced her ass off. Like, the blood still carried through. It's impressive.
That's awesome.
Yep. So how did you end up with Arnold? How'd that come about?
Arnold was one of the second or third male studs I found that I was in love with. I actually traveled to Washington to actually go meet him in person. This was back when they had the Yuku message boards and everything, and
I remember
people
those.
used to get on them instead of Instagram, and they would chat back and forth, and people would log in and in the morning and see what's on the message board. It was mostly a collection of breeders, but I found him through there. And then he was at that time owned by Jeremy, a guy named Jeremy, and his girlfriend Carmen.
Okay.
Who I went down and met with them, and I actually did a breeding with them and kind of developed a friendship with them, and especially with Carmen, Jeremy's girlfriend. So later on, about a year or two after I did a breeding with him, they ran into some financial problems and some family issues and just had a lot going on in life, and they decided to put him on the market. But I guess Carmen told Jeremy, the boyfriend, the only person I want to sell him to is Kat, because I know she's going to take good care of him. And it was kind of about the relationship that we had developed. And, kind of in this business, I kind of think that and in business in general, it's all about relationships. How you treat people, the relationships you develop. And so the relationship I had developed with her gave me the first opportunity to own Arnold. So they gave me the first opportunity to own Arnold for $4,000. Which at the time, again, was a lot of money to me. I didn't really have that type of money. I think I had $2,000 in my savings account at the time.
Wow.
I was still in the tail end of college, and I basically called almost every single person I knew and scrounged together things and sold anything I could possibly sell. And I told them, I'll be there. Hold the dog for me. I'll be there. I'll be there in 4 or 5 days and to come pick up the dog. So I was able to get together $4,000 with pretty much every penny I owned, and I drove about 11 hours, and then I went and picked up Arnold, and then that was how I got him.
So you must have had a strong intuition from the gate, because college students are struggling. I know, like to go out there and grab that money and put it together and then go out there and grab them. That was a brilliant move. It turns out to be one of the best. Like, look at where you at now,
Arnold was a beautiful dog. Like, I remember the first time I saw him, I didn't even think he was real. He looked like, a lot of people are impressed by these dogs, but I know you hear this too, I'm sure, when clients come to your facility or see the dogs in person. These pictures do these dogs no justice.
True.
These dogs look so much crazier, in my opinion, in person. Because you can actually see the bone, the muscle, the size of the dog. And Arnold was the craziest dog I'd ever seen in person, and I think I had dreams about that dog. I'm telling you. So when the opportunity arose, I definitely wasn't going to let that. Even if it wasn't, I definitely wasn't a big time breeder at that time, and I definitely wasn't making a lot of money on the dogs. But I was just like, oh my gosh, I have the opportunity to have this dog. Like, there's no way. And so it was great. It was definitely a blessing for sure.
I know you do believe in dogs being more impressive in person, because you're one of the people. I haven't been as active in the manner that you have as far as hitting the shows. That's one thing that you've been known for. Like, you'll go out to the shows. I know you and Arnold were at a lot of the shows at the Cinco's and things of that nature, and people were just as impressed when they seen them in person. I used to hear a lot of people coming back from the shows on the boards and on my phone like, yo, like, that dog was the truth. Like, seriously, the dog is fire.
Yeah, definitely. I think being able to bring the dogs out in public and show them to people in a positive environment is definitely, a plus and a bonus. And I know, and too, when you're in the breeding industry and you have a dog that's really incredible or really great, a lot of times, unfortunately, other breeders or just other people in the industry are always looking to, discredit or say the dog isn't what you make it to be. And I really will never understand why people do that or have that much time on their hands. But, it's definitely a way to dispel rumors or dispel negative connotations associated with the dogs when you bring them out and people can actually see them for themselves.
I think you're absolutely right. Like, I kind of found the same thing true for me. Like, at some point, the dogs have to be seen by the public. At some point, they have to hit a dog show. If you really want a name for the dog and to dispel all the not naysayers that's saying whatever, just for whatever reason, then they need to be seen in public. And that's something I got into later on. You're actually doing that early. And that's one of the things that also impressed me. I watched you transition. Like, you talked about the Yuku boards, but obviously all the platforms have changed from then till now. Like, it's not Yuku and MySpace. You know what I'm saying? It's Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Changed tremendously. And I'll tell you what's really funny is that the way I got my Instagram account started, you're never going to believe this, is I had a guy who was actually a client of mine who was telling me about Instagram and said, hey, you have this litter of puppies. This was back when I was actually collaborating with Aunt's son, and I was selling my pups for about $2,000, $2,500. And he said, you have this litter and you have some unsold puppies. Can I make an Instagram account for Bossy Kennels? You know, and then I'll put some puppies up there. And I kind of thought at the time, well, it's a waste of time. Yeah, go ahead. I don't care. What's Instagram? I didn't really know about it or really even care about it, to be honest. So he made this Instagram account, and I'll never forget, about a week in, I was starting to get these calls about these dogs. And I'm like, okay, cool. Where'd you see the puppy? Our website? He said, oh, Instagram. And then I said, well, this is kind of weird. I almost thought the guy was having people call me to show me it worked. Playing a joke on me. I was like, you know, but I think Instagram, I had like 3 or 4 of the puppies sell from Instagram, and clients come from Instagram. And I think the kid built up the Instagram to about 2,000 or 3,000 people for me. And I was getting so many calls. I said, hey, can I get the information for the Instagram? I think I'll, you know, take it over now. And he was super nice guy. And he just handed me over the stuff. He's like, here you go. And that was actually the beginning of Instagram for me. Somebody else had actually put me onto it. And now, you know, with, you know, like you said, how much times change and the social media platforms change, it's really important to stay on top of that stuff. I know that like TikTok is one Gary Vee talks about, and I think we're just trying to start our TikTok account next too, because Instagram's made a lot of unfavorable changes for a lot of people, you know, in the last year or two. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here.
Yeah, Facebook too. I think now that they realize the value of the platforms that they created, and they have people like you that have 500,000 followers, you can post up something and it's going to be gone within, I don't know how many comments, you know, and that's that. So yeah, they're starting to see like, okay, these people are monetizing our platform. We need to monetize our platform. So unless you're selling through us or advertising through us, direct sales are starting to be prohibited. I'm seeing that both with FB and IG, which is owned by the same company, so it makes sense. But you're right about that.
But you know, it's not really fair that somebody, you know, like you or I take years to build up following with people that have to actually choose to click follow. So, you know, we earn our audience, and then they change the algorithm where, you know, it doesn't really show to all of your followers. It only shows to 3 or 10%. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people worldwide who kind of aren't fond of that or don't think that's fair. And I'm sure it is, you know, a monetary thing where they want, you know, big time clients to be paying for advertisement rather than getting free advertisement. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the trend move towards a different platform in the next few years for sure.
I was kind of thinking the same, because the more that they start to control it, the more people start looking for an alternative, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Now, obviously, we know there's a lot of breeders out there, but most of them that tend to be successful, especially at the level that you're at right now, are male. So what challenges have you faced, or have you faced challenges being a woman in a male-dominated market? And
you know what's funny is a lot of the stuff that I've gotten has been from other countries. You know, I've actually had a gentleman from other countries that have refused to talk to a woman.
Wow.
Because it's not in their culture.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's not in their culture. They didn't really see a woman as being able to, or they didn't really want to do a business transaction with a woman. It doesn't happen often, but it definitely has happened.
Wow.
Or even funnier so, if I'm with, you know, a boyfriend or a friend and I'm out with the dogs, every single time the person will direct the question about the dog to the man.
You're making me feel guilty because if I see you and a dude and a dog, well, not you, because I know you clearly, but I would tend to think it was the male that had bred the dog, and I wouldn't want to disrespect him by talking to his girl, you know, so I can see that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it happens all the time, and, you know, they're always asking whatever male company that I'm with. But to be honest, that type of thing has never really been in my head or never really bothered me. I kind of believe that, like, if you care who gets the credit, then you're not working hard enough on what you're doing. You know, I don't care about credit. I don't care about kudos. I don't care about anything. I care about running a successful business and having really healthy dogs and happy customers and, you know, doing what I do. That's the most important. So getting credit or being a woman or none of that has never really been important to me.
Well, you know what? I think in a way it's kind of a benefit, because, I mean, I'm a decent looking dude, but, I mean, you being a sexy female, good looking female, you're going to have dudes that follow you just for that, and then look at the dogs and be like, whoa, shit, this girl is doing that? Like, wow, you know? So I think that actually helps in a way. I think you're going to get more positive energy from that. Like, your dog's going to sell themselves. Like, I noticed you don't get in a lot of pictures of your dogs. It's mostly when you look at your feed, it's most of your dogs because they speak for themselves. But I think when they see a beautiful woman behind it, it also kind of intrigues them as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've gotten some surprise. I know other people have thought, like, I've had some clients say, man, I thought you were like a 50-year-old bigger woman. Like, I didn't know you were a little 5-foot-something pint-sized little blonde girl. Yeah, I've definitely gotten that several times for sure. It's funny, but it's cool for sure. Neither here nor there, but, you know, I don't try to use a lot of, you know, sex to sell the dog.
No, I don't. I wasn't saying that or inferring that. Your dogs sell themselves. Like, man, you can see a picture of your dogs, and I can recognize a Bossy Kennels dog. No person needs to be in the picture. Period.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, and that means more to me than anything. Being able to be actually recognized as a brand after, you know, a decade of work, and being able to have people say, "Oh my God, that's a Bossy dog. I can see a Bossy dog," and refer to the word Bossy as a brand. You know, that's a great accomplishment and a great goal, and that makes me actually floored and humbled to hear that.
Honestly, there's this chick, and you might or might not know who she is because I know you have a lot of customers, but this was this morning, like literally this morning. I was on Facebook, and she had hit me up saying, we had hit you up in 2014 and we were reaching back out, and I looked at her profile. She looked like the model type, dark hair, and she had a beautiful tri-merle, and the second I seen it, I knew it was your dog. She's in Germany, I think.
Okay. Do you have a name or no?
No. I would have to go back and look. But
Gotcha.
But the second I seen the dog, like, I knew. I was like, that came from Bossy, right? She's like, yeah, it did. You know?
No,
like,
that's awesome.
Like, right away. So my next question would be, what contributions have you made as a kennel? I know this question. This is more for the public, honestly. But what contributions have you made as a kennel to the American bully community? And what would you like your kennel to be known for?
You know, I think that when I first started breeding, the whole industry was kind of run unorganized, not so much as a business. I don't really want to use the term ghetto, but you know, like basically the way
it was ghetto. It was ghetto. Come on now, it was ghetto in the beginning. It was a little hood.
Somewhat. Like, basically, if you're going to send money, you're going to hope that somebody sent a dog.
Right.
And there wasn't very, you know, it wasn't the same. So I'd like to think that we helped do a few things. One is try to kind of change it over for business, you know, as a business, to be viewed like as a real running business. And that's kind of what we do, is, you know, run things very professionally. We have 2 full-time staff members that help answer questions, send invoices out, send paperwork daily, and just to run it as a business. So, you know, if you send us money, your money is safe and secure, and it's with a reputable business. And I think that's been a big change. And then another thing is, when I first got into dogs about 10 years ago, it used to be, I don't want to say popular because I know you didn't do this, but a lot of big breeders used to keep dogs in cages and crates, you know, in the garage all the time, 24/7, you know, and that was kind of like accepted amongst the breeders. And I was always a huge animal lover, and that always bothered me. So I think that a great thing about having the large platform is we were able to build some beautiful facilities with big yards for the dogs.
I've seen them.
But, you know, we basically said, no, cages aren't cool. This is how a dog should be kept. This is the type of facility that if you're going to breed dogs, or this is the type of area that a dog needs. And to kind of change over that stigma from keeping dogs, you know, in garages and crates, that's cool for breeders to do, to, hey, this is cool. And since then, I've seen a lot of people kind of follow in that direction and footsteps, and that's definitely better for the breed. You know, in my opinion, and the dogs as a whole, because this is a business for me, for sure, 100%. I'll never deny that, but I love these dogs at the end of the day, too.
It shows.
And I will always choose the dog over the money at the end of the day. If I can breed a dog and make $100,000 breeding the dog, but it's going to put that dog's life at risk, that dog won't be bred.
I believe that, and it shows. I think it shows. I think that's one of the things that translates through social media, and that's one of the beauties of social media, is people get a feel for the person behind the breedings, and your passion shows just as much as your professionalism. I think people recognize that. And like for me, I'm located in LA. I have 3 acres, which is not a lot, but it's a lot for LA. You know what I mean?
I think I just saw your face on live. Did you go live on Facebook?
Yeah, I went live.
But hey, so let me interview you on one question here. Flip the script here for a second. So there was a thing going on with you for years that nobody had seen your face. That everybody thought that you were your cousin, you know, the other little guy, and that nobody had seen your face. I want to say this was like at least half a decade, 5, 6, 7 years. So when did you bust out your face here?
You know what? My whole thing was, like, with the breeding community, there's a lot of backstabbing. Like, initially, I was an in-person person. I would pick up all my dogs in person. I would show up to the place, deal with everybody in person. When I first started, I met Roman from ICK. That's where I bought my foundation bitch. I pulled up to his house. He drove me to his other house, blah, blah, blah. And eventually, unfortunately, he even became somebody I didn't want to see in person. And I just kind of got, like, disheartened. Like, the more I dealt with the people, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna focus on my clients. Now my clients, I will pull up on my clients. We meet up in person. They see me. Like, just yesterday I met up with a client. Later on today I'm meeting up with a client. But as far as other breeders, I really didn't interact as much because I felt like they just wanted to see if they can get a bad picture of my dog or say something negative about me, and I kind of strayed away. The more I started getting out in public, it wasn't with breeders. I started with taking Rock out and going into the malls, going to the beach, interacting with people that had nothing to gain. Like, they were just regular people reacting to my dog, so people can see, like, this is not, you know, people can Photoshop pictures to look a certain way and things of that nature. And I want them to see the general public's, not other breeders, but the general public's reaction to my dogs and me, you know. So that's when I really started getting my face out there. Until this day, I'm still more client oriented. Like, if a client wants to meet up, we're pulling up. We're going to meet up. They can see the dog in person. They can see the parents in person, so on and so forth. If it's another breeder, unless it's somebody I really want to deal with or plan on dealing with my dog, yeah. So that's my response to that. But I noticed that you were always an in-person person. Did you ever have any backlash from that? Like, anybody try to say anything negative about you or your dogs afterwards, or try to get like an awkward picture of your dog, which everybody already knew was badass? Or did you ever experience any of that? Oh, shit.
That was a weird noise.
What happened?
I don't know. I heard like, and then the phone hung up.
Oh, okay. Then I can recap. Where were we? When
I was asking you when you finally showed your face, because I know that was a thing that there used to be some rumors about, that you or your cousin pretended to be you, and no one had ever seen your face. And then you started telling me that. You started telling me, and actually it was kind of interesting to me because, you know, those kind of things are just, you know, funny or intriguing. But you started telling me how there was some, you know, kind of backstabbing or certain type of people in this industry.
I'll give you a whole answer. I'm gonna recap again though. That sucks. Misrecorded. So anyway, basically what I was saying was I wasn't really as worried about, like, initially. I would go out and pick up my dogs. Like, when I picked up all my foundation dogs, I pulled up to the kennels in person because this was going to be my foundation stock. The same way you say you went to get Arnold, you drove up there. I did the same thing with Roman from ICK. I pulled up to his yard. I bought my foundation bitch from him. I did my first breeding with him, pulled up, did that in person. My first breeding was with my foundation dog from him, which was Jules, and Disciple. So I did that in person. And I kind of like Roman. Kind of was a mentor for me in the beginning, and I don't know what you knew about Roman, but he's a real paranoid person, and I naturally was a paranoid person too, honestly. And he would talk about, dude, when you go to these shows, the only thing they want to do is take a bad picture of your dog and then try to use that against you. Even if you have a badass dog, they try to catch an awkward angle and do negativity. And you know what? There's so much stronger marketing on the internet. For every time their dog is seen in person, my dog is seen 1,000 times online. So I kind of took that attitude. Like, with my clients, I would pull up in person, I would meet up, I would give them dogs. Matter of fact, a lot of my testimonials now, I do live video testimonials instead of written testimonials after the fact. I actually record the event. I was saying just yesterday I delivered a dog. Later on in the day I'll be delivering a dog, you know, and I'll document that, and I'll have them talk about their experience on video, because I think that's just more authentic than having somebody write in later on. They can literally say what they're thinking right then, right there, while they're with their pup, while I'm there, you know. But when I really started first showing my face, wasn't really to breeders, it was to the general public. I would take Rock out into the mall. I would take Rock out into Venice Beach. We'd just go walk and be recorded so people could see the public's reaction, because there's a lot of things about photoshopping. Are the pictures photoshopped? Are they really that big? Do they really look like you say in the pictures? So I figured if I can go out in the general public and let them see how they respond to me, how they respond to my dogs, they would have a better feel for who we were. And honestly, I didn't take YouTube serious, but I just started uploading that content to YouTube, and that's what really helped me take my marketing to the next level. Was when I really went out there and started interacting with people.
So when was this? I mean, how long have you been kind of marketing via YouTube?
The service dog video was the first one. No, me and Rock in the street, but that wasn't with other people. The service dog video will be the first one where we were around everybody, and I'm thinking that was around 2015.
Okay, so 4 years about.
Yeah, before then I was a hermit. I'm a dog person more than a people person, to be honest. Like, I trust dogs more than I trust people. That's just how I am, you know. Like,
yeah, I hear that.
Have you? And I had asked you a question after I answered George earlier before the phone cut out, and that was, have you ever experienced anyone trying to like take awkward angles, you know, like bad pictures of your dogs, or say?
Of course, I think anybody that has become kind of anybody in this industry in general has, but I mean, they do that to celebrities in the streets too, you know, when people are out. And I'm not trying to compare us to celebrities, but I'm just saying,
you are a celebrity in your own right. Like, honestly, if you really think about it, when people know of your dogs and the people that are into dogs basically view it as a household name, I mean, what else do you call it?
Yeah, I mean, basically I was just trying to, you know, relate that, you know, you have a cute person like Jessica Alba or someone go in the streets without makeup, and then a ton of people want to take a picture and say that she looks like she just experienced a death, or, you know, people are just, I don't know, it's just in general, whenever anybody has attention, there's always going to be those people that are looking to be negative or discredit them for reasons that I may never understand, you know, whatever their reason may be. But that's so common. I've experienced that a ton for dog shows or this or that, definitely. And sometimes even people that, you know, you think are your friends or you think you're cool with, which, you know, that always sucks. But it's definitely just part of the game.
Do you still go to dog shows as much, like at the level you're at now? Do you?
I don't. So we try to go to Cinco every year, the big Cinco bully show here in Southern California, because it's in our backyard.
Is it still big? I kind of heard it declined, honestly.
You know, it has declined, and I've kind of seen it as, in my opinion, excuse my language, you know, a dick measuring contest, or, you know, basically, you know, amongst a lot of breeders go, not as many customers go, so maybe good if you want to stud out your males, but for me, the main interest in my business is basically expanding my business and things that are beneficial to us. And, you know, haven't really seen the shows as of late be tremendously beneficial to us. We did fly out to Kentucky. We brought Good Barn Wonka on the plane actually with us. And we attended a show out there, which was good because a lot of breeders got to see their size and their temperaments and stuff. Mm-hmm. But as far as it being worth it, it's a tremendous amount of work to go out there and set all this up for the dogs and with the people. And I'm just, you know, with how it's declined and kind of the type of people, I shy away from it. Maybe once a year, maybe, for us.
Got you. Yeah, I've honestly seen more results. Even when my dogs I had my dogs go to the shows without me. I've been to like maybe 3 shows ever. Like, I'm not a big show person, honestly.
Yeah.
Now, with my clients, to me, that matters a lot more. If they want to see the dog in person, I've had clients drive from out of state. I'm not going to not show up and show them the dogs. They have to see the dogs. So that, to me, that means a lot, because they're spending their hard-earned money and trusting my brand. Hey, here's the parents. Here's the pups. This is the pick that you chose, so on and so forth. I have people fly in from out the country. I'm definitely going to show up and meet with those people. But as far as running around trying to impress other breeders and basically, like you said, it's a dick measuring contest. Other breeders are not really your friends. The second they get back, they're going to post up whatever they can about you, whatever negative. They won't say nothing about the positive attributes that they've seen from your dog. They're going to find that one thing they can say, like, well, I kind of know this, blah, blah, blah. You know, so I think it's a lot more beneficial for me to just be in person with my clients more than just going to every show.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Off topic, you just kind of spawned a question in my head from this. Like, I know you've franchised more than almost any other kennel I've seen, which is indicative of a true business structure. Like, what led you to that?
So kind of a funny story. It was kind of an accident, to be honest, of how it first began. But I was in a relationship for 5 or 6 years, and I had all the dogs with me. I lived up in Southern California, up in Nuevo, a little city, and I think I had 15 dogs at that point. I wasn't extremely successful, but I was doing okay, and I loved what I did. And that relationship ended. And when that relationship ended and he left, I realized that I was a 23, 24-year-old girl in the middle of nowhere with tons of rattlesnakes and 15 dogs, and that I would probably be alone forever if I continued that life. And I was pretty stressed about basically how I was gonna just make it on my own and do this. And so I thought of reaching out to a couple clients that I had developed strong relationships with at the time. One of whose name is Brett, who's my longest partner to this day.
Gotcha.
Brett Wall. And I reached out to a couple people that I knew really well, and I said, "Hey, would you like to take on a few of these dogs? Would you like to take 2 or 3 of my dogs?" Because I trusted these people, and I would do the marketing and stuff, and I would split it with you 50-50. And let's do it that way. And they jumped at the chance. I'd known these people for about 4
Why wouldn't they? Look how much work you put in building a brand. Like, one thing I notice is when you see Bossy Kennels, blah blah blah, Bossy Kennels Texas, Bossy Kennels whatever, everybody automatically associates it with the quality that Bossy is known for. So they're going to sell dogs for more and a lot easier. So of course they're going to jump at it.
At the time that I did this, I really wasn't even that successful yet. Especially with Brett. Brett is like my founding partner, I would say.
That's a ride or die for you right there.
Yeah,
okay.
a ride or die by far.
Gotcha.
And I really didn't have much at the time, and I wasn't that super popular, but he had faith in me, and he was down for it. And it was at that time when I separated the dogs into, I think it was only him and one other person at that time, that it allowed me to really now get down and dirty and focus on the marketing and the other side of the business. Because when you're out there cleaning up after dogs and running the dogs and feeding the dogs, you really, if you're doing a good job and taking good care of your dogs, you don't have much time to do all the other things. I
can't do it. I can't. Like, honestly, I'm just going to be 100 with you, and I don't talk to a lot of people about this, but they don't get to see the behind the scenes. But honestly, I do interact with my dogs as much as possible, of course. But as far as the daily cleaning and everything else, I have people that help me with that, because there's no way I can do that. And I have other business besides this and my kennel. Like, there's no way. It's impossible.
And answer 50 phone calls a day and book flights for puppies to go out on and take pictures of the dogs and upload them to a website. It's just a lot.
You have to separate that. Yeah, that's like having... Let's say we were at Walmart and you have one employee that runs the cash register, does the stocking, puts all the carts back up in the parking lot, and acts as security too. Like, how's that going to work?
Definitely. So it definitely was a bonus for me. Although you can't just partner up with anybody, and I say that carefully because I've definitely had circumstances, and luckily not so many, but circumstances in which the partnership didn't work out for one reason or another. So
man, I have partners where I feel like fuck you, and fuck you. I'm gonna have to beep that out, but hey, no, I'm serious though, because I loaned my name to them. I gave them top quality dogs, all the support I could give. Now, I'll be specific about mine. BGK Europe, I gave them BGK's Cujo. He was already marketed. He's one of the few dogs I ever had taken out and put in the show. Like, he went to Cinco before he went to Europe, was weighed publicly, established his stats amongst a lot of breeders right there on the spot, that took pictures while he was on the hanging scale, and was promoted on my site, promoted on all my social media platforms. So, I remember him. Yeah, thank you. By the time he reached them, they said they literally had people knocking at their door. And he's like, I don't even know how you found where I live.
And what happened?
Basically, they started ripping off people, and I started getting emails about someone paying them $10,000, $12,000, didn't get the pup, never got the pup, got the wrong pup, got a different pick, switching out picks, so I had to shut it down. Like, they don't exist anymore. That's it. Like, I closed it down. It wasn't an option. Now, I've had more good experiences than bad, but I'm just saying I relate to, everything can't work out, especially when you have a vision for what you're doing and you've worked hard to keep your integrity intact, and then someone else can go out and deviate, and that affects you or reflects on you,
I think one of the key things is that don't get in bed with somebody who you haven't known for multiple years.
Yeah.
Like, know somebody, know a client, know somebody, pretty well for at least 2 years before you decide to do business with them on any type of serious level, because you don't really know somebody's true character until you see what happens when things don't go right.
Now, there's going to be a lot of, I don't want to say wannabe breeders because that's demeaning, but there's going to be a lot of aspiring breeders, let me put it that way.
Yeah, that's a better word.
That are going to be listening to what you're saying. Would you advise them to franchise? And if so, at what point in their career do you think that it's time to expand on that level?
Definitely not, to be honest with you. So, I didn't just open Bossy Kennels and open 10 chapters. And,
right, I know that.
Definitely not how it works. So I think that in order to be successful at a business, you need to know how to do every aspect yourself.
Right.
So you need to get into the business. And I always tell people to go slow. Go slow, and I don't sell the pyramid scheme. I'm one of the few that does not. I look at people more ethically than I do in other ways. So what I'm going to say is, okay, let's X-nay off this. Let's just say that when people buy a dog, a lot of times when they call me, they say, hey, I want to buy this dog, and then they talk about breeding, and they want to breed the dog together, and I say, hey, just because you buy a $10,000 dog and you breed it to another puppy you buy for $10,000, you're not going to have a bunch of $10,000 puppies.
Nope.
It doesn't work like that.
Nope.
Plain and simple. And a lot of people think that. And I think that any breeders that are pushing that stigma or that idea is doing an injustice to the breed. Because unless you have developed a brand like yourself or me or somebody else that people trust and know for multi-years, it takes a lot to get to the top. There's only the top 5% that's selling for those prices.
True.
Then you have the other 95%. There you go. Let me do the math correctly. But you get what I'm saying.
I do. That makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of dogs end up in the pound, unfortunately, because of that. People just buy into, what? And I mean, I've watched this, and I have to be careful because I'm friends with some of these people, but there's some wealthy people that have jumped into the business and they buy too many dogs too soon, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And
my
I don't
assistant is nodding her head right now because you're on speakerphone. She goes, mm-hmm. And she's doing her paperwork over there because she agrees with you. We've seen that too. And the thing is, you don't know what you're doing in the beginning.
No.
You don't know what traits to look for. You don't know about, high rear or this or that or angulation or the health of the dog or there's so many different things. So it's like, go slow. Everybody wants it. And some people that call me too is like, I want a lilac try right now. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have one right now, but if you'd like to wait, we'll have one for you in 4 months. I don't want to wait. So they go buy whatever. But at the end of the day, like, it's quality. You want quality if you're going to be in this industry. You know what I mean? In my opinion. But
that's my slogan is quality matters. So yeah, I completely agree with you.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think you said a lot because I've seen that so many times, and I think a lot of those, that's when you see here today, gone tomorrow, or sometimes here today, gone today, when they just try to do too much too quickly. I started off with 2 females. 2. That's it. That's what I had to start. And then I did a breeding, and then later on I bought another stud. But I grew slowly and organically, and I think like when you have that type of a movement, just like you, I watched you grow with Arnold, and then you started expanding, then you started going in different directions, and everybody could follow your growth, follow what you were about, and that established organic growth, and that can't be done. I don't care how much money you have overnight. It's impossible.
Exactly, 100%. You pegged the nail on the head or whatever with the word organic growth. When you try to, how many people I saw buy 200, 300,000 followers on Instagram or do this or do that, and their Instagrams got shut down, things happened, things got deleted. You need organic growth because organic growth gives you strength and it gives you foundation. So if God forbid, knock on wood, our main Instagram account was shut down, we would survive. You know, we have satellite accounts. We have other venues. We have 25,000 people a week that go to our website. You know what I mean? We have infrastructure, like you said.
You guys have been on top of Google for a long time, on the first page for a long time. Many moons.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
No, you have. I checked.
Oh, okay. Well,
I do. I have to check.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah. Now, who is your favorite dog you ever produced, and what made them so unique?
You know,
you want to do top 3? Is that easier? Because I know you got a lot of good dogs you produce.
Yeah, I know. It's really, really hard because you got different aspects of favorite. Obviously, our most popular renowned dog was Victoria's Secret. She's still alive. She's not being bred anymore.
That picture is iconic. That picture is iconic. Like, I've seen that picture so many times. Like, that picture is iconic, man. She's just a beautiful bitch.
Shared over and over and all that. As far as appearance and stuff, you know, Jasmine, Demi, those are 2 of our current girls. Demi's off Victoria. Jasmine is Good Bar's mom. 2 of my favorite dogs. I
like Good Bar a lot, by the way. He's dope.
Yeah, Good Bar's awesome. Good Bar's awesome. He's still, he's like a mini horse. So he's pretty known for us too. And then I got Blackmail at my house, and he's my pet. So personality wise, you know, obviously I'm in love with him. It's really hard to pick. I love all the dogs a lot. Probably some of our top dogs, you know, are obviously, you know, Victoria, Good Bar, Jasmine. We got Lucci, who's a Victoria's son. It's just some nice dogs all around, but they're just different in different ways. So really hard to just choose one.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when I look and I'm like, wow, I like that one. I like that one. You know, so to be the person that actually owns them, I know that has to be hard to make a choice.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so what can we look forward to as you expand your reach into the American bully community?
Look forward to. We're emphasizing more and more on health. We're doing a lot of health testing, which isn't really predominant in the breed. We're trying to breed the healthiest to the healthiest and keep offspring off of the healthiest dogs. And
smart.
So you can look forward to hopefully healthier dogs. Obviously the Merles, I know you had asked, you know, previously or had mentioned to me questions about the Merles and stuff and the coloring and everything. So in the future, hopefully we can get some dogs that are looking like Good Bar and Wonka and Victoria, you know, in the different color and the Merle suits. That would definitely be fun. But mainly, you know, basically preserving the temperament. We don't do a lot of heavy inbreeding over here. I'm not really a fan because I don't believe it makes the best tempered dogs.
I've done one in my entire career, and I like to stay away from that. Outcross, line breeding, that's my thing. Like inbreeding.
I know, and so many people talk. I mean, so many breeders want to talk shit about outcrossing, you know, but I've created some of my best dogs outcrossing. And I believe it creates a stronger dog. It creates a smarter dog. There's just so many benefits. And I know that when you inbreed a dog 4 times, you get a massive head. I get it. But that massive head. But
what defaults do you get? Like those flaws that come with that? Ugh.
At what expense? You now created a retarded dog. You know, these dogs are so powerful. You don't want an American Pitbull or American Bully that's retarded. You know what I mean? You don't want to eliminate all the intelligence because they are not a human aggressive breed by nature. And I think when we've seen all these things, I know you've seen it. I'm not going to mention the kennel or whatever the
Kimball line. I hate Killer Kimball. I'm just going to be straight up. You didn't say it. I'll take the rap.
My ex-boyfriend Zach, who I was with for 5 years, who I mentioned earlier, actually had a Kimbo son. And he was swimming, and that dog, it was only a puppy, 6-7 months, and that dog swam right up to him and bit his arm so vicious, so bad that he bit down on the bone. Like, he basically attacked him.
Like, I don't doubt it.
And the dog was a puppy, and this is a result of an inbred, you know what I mean, of inbreeding, and in my opinion, obviously not really responsible breeding in general. But nonetheless, he didn't even put that dog down. He gave it, I think, 2 more chances, and the dog attacked him, I think, 3 times before that dog had to be put down. And knock on wood, I don't know of any dog that we had that have, you know, that have attacked humans. This is not a human aggressive breed. In general.
It's not naturally HA at all. Human aggressive. Exactly. We say HA for short for the audience. But It's not a naturally human aggressive dog. Now, animal aggressive, yeah, that's a trait that they have. Now, the bullies don't share it as much as the original Pitbull game Pitbulls, of course, but it's still in their genes somewhat. HA, you don't see that on a regular basis. It takes something going wrong, in my opinion, either neglect or bad genetics or a combination of both to have an HA dog.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of Kimbo, unfortunately, I interviewed the family of Mia de Ruin.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I did. I was fortunate enough to have a chance to speak with them, and my heart still goes out to them. And R.I.P. to Mia. I mean, she is a beautiful 3-year-old little girl, beautiful, and she is brutally attacked. He went straight for the neck. She was dead within a minute.
Andre, I wouldn't be able to do what I did anymore if I knew that I was personally responsible for having a child lose their life.
I believe that. I 100% believe that.
At the end of the day, number one, and I even tell clients who call this, number one should be temperament. Above health, above anything, temperament. Because these dogs go to families. And that's the most important, that these dogs do not hurt children. I mean,
remember when we were talking about meeting in person? The guy that I'm meeting with today, I'm meeting with him and his 6 kids. Okay, so and he sent me videos of his daughters. They're beautiful, you know. Like, do you know how much that would hurt me to know? Like, I gave him this dog, and the grew up, got big, and then hurt one of those little girls. Like, I will feel not only feel, I would be 100% responsible for putting something in their hands that did that. You know. You know,
and to recap and go back to, you know, to connect this point with what you're making with, you know, having people join with partners. And I've always told this, I've told this to my assistant and other people. I said, whenever you combined business with somebody, you always want to look at their ethics and their morals, number one. I can't teach you to be ethical. I can teach you how to clean up dog poop. I can teach you how to whelp a litter. But I cannot teach you how to be a good person. You're either good or you're not.
Facts.
You know, so if you have a good ethic, moral standard, then you're not going to want to see kids hurt, and you're not going to want to breed dogs that shouldn't be bred because it might kill them, or it might, you know. So when you search for people that you want to kind of couple with or even just work with, you kind of want to find people that believe in the same things that you believe in.
That's why, I don't know if you noticed in the intro, but that's one of the things I said that I noticed about you and your dogs was stable temperaments, and that's important, and that's why I included that, because that's so vital. That's so vital to what we do, and for the reputation of the breed, because they don't look at the fact that it was an inbred dog that went crazy and did whatever it did to harm someone. It's just a pit bull attack, and we all bear that stigma after that.
Exactly.
So I think it harms the breed 100%. As a whole. And
how many breeders do you think emphasize, like, very much care about the temperament? What percent?
Man. I don't want to put a number out there, but I think if I was real generous, I would say 50.
Oh yeah, you're thinking higher than I am.
Half, maybe. Maybe I'm just being optimistic. I would hope that half of the breeders out there care about it.
I would say
you're probably right.
That I mean,
you're probably right. I'm trying to be optimistic here. Like, I know it's so low that it's really disappointing that people don't focus on that, and the fact that some of these lines, and I'm not going to go into depth, but still exist, and people know what happened, and they don't care. Well, you know, my dog was okay. All right, go for it. Go for it.
Dog was okay. Oh my gosh.
Now, since you've been in a business so long, how do you feel like the industry has changed over the years?
It's become more saturated, obviously.
Yeah.
You and I have both seen that. So with social media platforms like Instagram, you know, while they've been super beneficial for some of us, they've opened up the door for others, you know, as well. You know, anybody can go on there and sell, just like anybody can be an Instagram model. All of a sudden, you got 500,000 followers on Instagram, and you're a pretty girl, you're an Instagram model, right? So it's definitely opened up a platform for a lot of people to just sell without having specific credentials or doing other type of business work. So I think the industry has, or is becoming, very saturated with a lot of breeders and a lot of people who, you know, want to be a breeder or make money. You know, I have customers sometimes that even tell me, they're like, oh, if I'm going to spend that much money, because I always ask them, are you looking for a pet or are you trying to breed?
I ask the same thing. I want to know.
Go, I've had some that tell me, and it's a little annoying, like, if I'm going to spend that much, I'm going to need them at least breed it once. And I'm like thinking in my head, but why? Like, you know what I mean? Why?
Because, right. Just to recover the cost, or
If that's the case, maybe we should point you in the direction of a lower priced dog, because you can definitely get them.
Right.
You know, or sometimes we have pet homes, or, you know, I always try to kind of get, because not everybody is equipped to or should be breeding, obviously.
No, you're absolutely 1000% right, man. A lot of them shouldn't. You know, like for years, I'll be honest with you, just being straightforward, I wasn't a licensed breeding facility, even though I operated that way. You know, I still took the same quality of care of my dogs as I do now. But right now, we're a licensed breeding facility. We're monitored by animal control. We're registered with the county. They come out for their surprise inspections once or twice a year. I've got an A rating every year, you know, and I think that the more that they hold you accountable, the more that the people that wouldn't do right, because if you're going to do it, you're going to do it, period. You know what I mean? You're not going to do it just because they're coming out. But I think if they have more people accountable, we would see a lot less incidents, and there would be a lot less issues.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. 100%.
Now, my next question is, I know you have a lot of celebrity clientele. We spoke about that in the intro, from the NBA, NFL, baseball players, famous musicians. Can you tell me who are some of your celebrity clientele and the experiences you had selling to them?
Let's see. To be honest, a lot of people don't care about that, but I'm going to tell you anyway. No, whenever I post pictures of that, like, they don't, you know, people don't.
I think they do more than you realize. I think they do.
One of my best clients is probably John Wall. Super, super nice guy.
Cool.
Loves these dogs. He actually spent a fortune building them a huge thing in his estate backyard in Washington for his dogs. That's kind of similar to what we have, but where they have giant areas and play yards, and they're never locked up in small areas. I've been out to visit him, met his mom a few times.
That's awesome.
Met his family, and he's just a huge dog lover and a really, really nice guy. Super humble, big dog lover, super nice guy. Random others, obviously Darnell Dockett. We had Shady McCoy.
Wow.
We've had Jeff Loebs is like an internet guy that we just, he's like a bodybuilder. We just sold one to.
Awesome.
We had the little Dodgers pitcher guy, Yasmani. We've had Darren Williams, Warren G, Tyrod Taylor.
Warren G. Regulators.
He's actually out here. He's actually out here in this area, surprisingly, and super cool. The Pounceys, Micah Marquise, Trent Williams. There's a lot. But definitely.
Did you say Cat Williams? That's like one of my favorite comedians.
Trent Williams.
Oh, I thought you said Cat. I'm about to say that's my favorite.
Cat Williams would be cool. I'd have to go meet him in person.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. That's one of my. You had to call me in so I could show up too. Shoot.
We can go together.
Right. All right. Now I know Bossy is an international brand at this point. So what are some of the places you ship dogs to?
We ship dogs at pretty much everywhere, minus Australia.
That's hard because they want some. They have to be like a year to go to Australia, don't they?
Yeah, she said. My assistant's like, we don't ship to Middle East either. But yeah, we don't ship to the Middle East or Australia.
Why? Just out of curiosity, because I shipped to Kuwait and it wasn't a big deal.
Why, Janelle? Because I think the regulations.
Yeah, restrictions, regulations. They're actually banned there.
They're actually banned there, but they've also changed, so it made it way harder unless they come in as like a personal protection dog. Like even Saudi and those places, they've made it incredibly hard to import the dogs over there. And then I get scared that the dogs are going to get euthanized. You know what I mean? And when they arrive. So I don't know about where you just said that location, Kuwait. But I know but I know some of the other places like Saudi has become extremely hard as of the last few years.
I hate to say this, and I don't know if I'm going to edit this part of the interview or not. I'll think about it after I listen to it. But what I've learned about the Middle East is a lot of those places are pay to play. So regardless if the breed is banned or not, they'll be able to import it and get it. I've done it a lot.
Yeah, so if it's a prince, I know how it works. Like if it's a prince or something, they have special pull at the airport. Mm-hmm. If the customer is a bigger customer and has that type of relationship and assures me, I'm not super anti it. But definitely I don't want to be the one organizing it, shipping the dog off, crossing my fingers. Definitely need to have some type of secure peace of mind that the dog is going to end up where it needs to go.
Yeah, I had a bad experience with that also, just to show the flip side of the coin. And while I understand what you're talking about, I shipped the dog off to Indonesia. Beautiful dog, huge dog, one of my favorites, honestly. And when it got there, eventually the owner decided to put it into a dog fight because dog fighting is legal and taxable in Indonesia. I didn't know that, So
you gotta be kidding me.
No, look it up. is legal and taxable. You can have a public event as long as you pay taxes.
So they put the dog in a dog fight?
Against 2 game dogs. It was just because he was so big, and it got tore up. I mean, these are not fighting dogs. You know that.
Did
he died? He died. And I really felt bad. Like, I felt like without knowing it, I should have done more research. I sent him to his death without knowing. The guy presented himself as a family guy. Sent pictures of him, his wife, his son. The first pictures he sent me back after he got the dog was him and his motorcycle and his son and his dog. So I had no reason to think otherwise. But later on, when he died, I was just devastated. Like, I can't believe, like, I really have to do more research because I didn't think dog fighting was legal and taxable anywhere. Like, I just didn't know that, you know. So you have a very valid point there. I get that. Now, it's common knowledge that Merles and Tries now became extremely popular. It used to be Big Blues, but I mean, like, Arnold was a great example of a muscled up, ripped up blue. But now the color game seems to have really taken a strong impact. What kind of led you in that direction? Because you've seen one of the first dominant kennels I've seen that really focused and perfected that lane was Bossy Kennels. What led you in that direction as far as Merles and Tries? Because, you know, the OGs used to teach us back in the day that Merles are unique due to a defect and you can't breed Merle and a UKC and the blah, blah, blah. So what made you feel like, you know what gave you that kind of foresight and what made you go in that direction?
You know, it took me a little while to like Merles after they were first produced. I didn't like the first few that I saw, especially the ones that are like from Cataloola cow dogs.
I was about to say, they look just like Cataloola cow dogs. The first ones
the long, snipey, Labrador-faced ones, I wasn't really a big fan of. Once I saw the Bulldog originating ones, I started to like them a lot more, as a Bulldog is already a component of the American Bully. I was like, wow, that looks cool, and I liked them.
It does.
At the end of the day, people are drawn to those special colors. People pay a lot of money for these dogs, and people like pretty things to look at. So I said, okay, well, you know, if this is something customers are going to like, let's try to perfect it. Let's try to bring some of this blood in and health test it and breed it in with some of our really nice foundation stuff and wash out the stuff that doesn't work. You know, I've neutered and spayed certain dogs that, in my opinion, shouldn't be bred, that we've produced.
That's just being a good breeder. Hey, back in the day, they didn't neuter and spay. They caught them. They killed them. That was it. Like,
yeah,
the breeders would just straight up twist the dog's necks, toss them in the garbage. Not to be crass, but that's what they did. Like, straight up. Not me. I'm not saying nothing I did and never would. But I'm just saying, the old school breeders, that was something for them. Calling was a thing. Like, that's.
I think that's another problem with, you know, current day upcoming breeders, is everybody wants to breed every single dog that they have. You know, and the thing is, just because you bought it, just because you spent money on it, just because you did a breeding and paid a stud fee for it, doesn't mean that that dog is possibly the best to breed. Nope. You know, for whatever reason, it's not 100% success rate. You know, so if you're not spaying and neutering certain dogs or looking for certain traits or whatnot, then to me, you're not breeding responsibly.
No, you're right. And as a breeder also, you know that every dog you produce isn't breeding stock. I have certain dogs that I'm like, you know what? I'm pet homing that dog. I'm pet homing that dog. You know, and then other dogs off of that same litter might be exceptional specimens, you know? So that's just one of those things as a breeder, you have to know that too. You can kind of tell them like, look, this dog, I'm going to pet home this dog. I'll offer it to you at a lower price. You know, it doesn't mean it won't turn out and be special, but this is my vibe by when I analyze the dog right now, you know?
Exactly.
You know, so what bloodlines kind of make up the dogs that you're breeding right now?
You know, we get that question a lot, and in my opinion, with the XLs, there's so many different bloodlines that it's even hard to answer. We have some old school Gotti via Arnold. We have some royal bloodline in there.
RBG.
Some RBG, exactly, which I know you're a big fan of. We have some Prime Yard. If you consider Prime Yard a bloodline, if you don't, then you don't consider.
They have nice dogs. I don't know if they have enough generations to be a bloodline.
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
honest.
People are real, you know, whatnot about that. But we have so many different in there. You know, we have some old school gray line, gaudy line, a little bit of edge with certain dogs. So that's always a difficult question for me to answer because I can just ramble off about 7 different bloodlines for people, and then they're probably more confused after I answer them than they were before they answer.
I think you're pretty clear. Are you into any other type of animals? Because you seem like you might be an animal lover in general.
Am Am I into other animals? I do like animals in general, but I don't have any other type of animals in general other than dogs. See, would I be a fan of having another type? No, not really. Just dog. I mean, I'm a big dog lover. Cats are cool, but I wouldn't own a cat. No.
Cat don't like cats.
Oh yeah, I am a cat. That's right. That's funny. Very, very ironic.
Tell the public something they don't already know about you, Kat.
Something they don't already know about me.
You're pretty public, so this is a hard question.
We got some smiles in the room right now. People are smiling at me from your question. What don't they already know about me? I think a lot of people think that I'm a bitch through business. I heard that, like, a lot of people have said I'm a cutthroat businesswoman, I'm this and that. But the people that are closest to me, that know me the most, have described me as having a huge heart and being extremely generous and kind. I just think a lot of people don't know that the business side of me is a lot different than the personal side of me. This is a business, and I run it like a business, and I'm very serious about my business. But that's not a pure indicator of who I am as a person, how I relate business. Because otherwise people would think I'm cold and heartless.
That's a good answer. That's actually a really good answer. But a lot of people don't realize, to operate at the level you're operating at and to achieve the type of success you have achieved, you can't run around being besties with everybody and just doing everything out of gratitude. Like, it is a business at the end of the day. I mean, it's
because people will take advantage.
They will.
And that's happened to us in the past. I've always been extra kind to almost everybody that does business, but people will take advantage. And at the end of the day, after you talk to 500 people in a day, sometimes it's almost impossible for it not to wear on you. So sometimes you do answer, stoically, or you do answer, sometimes like you're exhausted or whatnot. So that's why it's been a huge thing for me to have a team that helps talk to customers and, multiple people that are dealing with people and stuff, because I really want to give everybody fantastic customer service. But it would be impossible for me to be very jovial every single time I personally spoke to somebody, because the number of people that, call us, and people don't understand some of the dumb.
I don't know how you do the calls all the time. Like, I'm like, hit the email, hit the contact button, and honestly, I don't respond to the emails. I have someone that does that for me because
porting everybody over to email from Instagram is what we've been doing all this year, especially with the Instagram changes.
Do you still get a shit ton of DMs anyway? Because I do.
We do, but I have a copy paste that's basically like, hey, email us here,
Smart.
email us here. And if you can't figure out how to email us, you probably don't need it all.
But you know what? I bet you some people kind of like. I mean, this goes back to the celebrity thing we talked about earlier. I think some people, even though you might, like in my little bio on Instagram, I say, please hit the contact button, no DMs. But I think some people contact you directly just because they want to have that interaction, or to be able to say, hey, I talked to Kat from Bossy Kennels, and she told me this dog, and that's what I'm going to do. I think they kind of want that personal interaction to be able to say that they actually spoke with you and actually dealt directly with you at some point in the transaction, And
anybody that wants to talk to me, by any means, I'll talk to them. I have no problem with that at all. I just want to give everybody the best customer service, and I can't always answer in the most timely manner.
Of course.
As far as if we give it to everybody to answer, and so. That's definitely important.
No, I totally get it, because I can't either. So, I mean, don't take that as a judgment. I get it. Like, that's one of those things. Now, is there anything you feel like we haven't covered? Any future ventures that you're working on? Anything you got coming up you like to talk about?
Let me think on that one. No. To be honest, no. I prefer to move in silence and let the dogs speak for themselves. And,
they do.
And hopefully in the future you're going to see some new big things from us, and you'll see it basically visually and not me talk about it. So definitely stay tuned to see some of what we have coming for the next year.
This is Dre BGK with Big Dog Talk. We'd like to thank Kat from Bossy Kennels for being one of our first guests. She gave a lot of valuable information. Now, this podcast is dedicated to the bully community. If you're a bully lover, if you're into the American bully, if you're into Pitbulls, you want to know more about the breed, if you want to know how to breed, this is the place for you. You want to know about dog drama, the things that happen in the breeder world, there's a lot of breeder on breeder drama. This is the place for you. You want some game?
this is the place for you. Next week, we have DDK's Marlon, owner of the world-famous dog, DDK's The Hawk, Dark Dynasty Canines. He's going to be giving his point of view. A lot of interesting things going on with that guy. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And in case you don't know, you're a part of the Big Dog Talk Pod Squad. So tap in, tune in every week. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, etc., etc. Make sure you tell a friend, tell your main chick, tell your sidekick, tell somebody. They need to know, okay? So make sure you get involved with us. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Big Dog Talk.